Live? Are we ready to go live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea? Yes, we are live from our undisclosed secret location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California. And this is your somewhat semi savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman here. And we'd like to, like I say, hope everybody's primary election went more or less well. I personally suffered a defeat with Ada Briseño in Assembly District 67, and I'll talk a little bit about that just really quickly before we get to our special guest. Sorry, Chidi Udengwu, and I'll let Chidi do the bulk of his own introduction. But what I will tell you is that Chidi is a multi-talented, thoughtful, engaged guy who believes in bringing people together, and he does believe. When you hear what he does to this end, you'll admire him as much as I do. And I usually say a few words about Ada Briseño because I keep telling people that she is nothing but an American success story. And and Ada came to the states with her family from Nicaragua as refugees, and Ada eventually got a job in a hotel and organized the workers and formed a union, became union president, at some point became the leader of the Democratic Party of Orange County. And ladies and gentlemen, if that's not a success story, I don't know what is. And I always, this was a pure money determined election. Ada came in third, and of course that wasn't enough. But anyway, let me play this few seconds for you from Ada, just to remind everybody about power politics and what we're up against, and what we have to do.
Why are pro-Trump billionaires spending a fortune lying about Ada Briseño? Because they're afraid of her. Bernie Sanders calls Ada a warrior who stood up to corporate interests and delivered real change for working men and women. Planned Parenthood says Ada is a champion for reproductive freedom. Healthcare workers called her fearless. Join Bernie Sanders. Vote Ada Briseño for Assembly, the one candidate who strikes fear into the heart of Trump's allies.
And the point of that is what we need to keep doing. We may have lost the battle, but we're still fighting the war, and regrettably, the war goes on daily. I mean, we're not going to get much of a respite until November. So, guys, in the meantime, let's get ready for a hard-working summer to get ready for November. And anyway, how are those for some cheerful thoughts to lead off with on a really nice Wednesday, June 3rd? I hope everybody's doing well where they are. And summer's pretty much in swing here. You can tell when it's summer's when the free shuttles start taking people like me to and from the bar, so they don't get the DUI. And thankfully I'm not one of those guys, but I do enjoy the free shuttle ride. And since it is June 3rd, I usually start the days with a little observation from the New York Times and Financial Times. But after last night, and after just looking at the New York Times briefly, very briefly, I couldn't even make my way to the Financial Times. And the big deal I want to mention about today is there's an editorial by Tom Friedman. I don't know. I'm sure if anybody reads the New York Times, they know who he is. Friedman is a long-time writer for the New York Times. And contrary to what the Republicans would like you to believe, like I said, despite what they want you to believe, it's just not true. It's propaganda, pure and simple. And anyway, you know what? I want to take just a brief second before I get into a little more of what Friedman had to say. I want to do a little shameless self-promotion and mention that on my on my Instagram feed, I did a little 30-second music video, and it's called Republicans. And I've gotten several hundred views. I was really shocked. And I did one I think Monday. What was that one called? Roll Those Republicans. So if anybody wants to have a few lighthearted minutes check those out, and if you don't like it, that's fine too. I just these things come to me in a vision, and I feel obligated to write them down, and maybe some of the phraseology will catch on. Maybe if enough people here roll those Republicans, maybe we will roll those Republicans. And it would be better if we didn't just roll those Republicans in the upcoming election. It would be much better if we could steamroll the Republicans in this next election. The truth of the matter is, the Republicans in D.C. have a lot to answer for. I mean, they have everything to answer for. Trump's agenda would not be Trump's agenda without the enablers. And we can go up and down the list, but let me just kind of dwell on I'll mention a few things early on. And the first thing is, Tulsi Gabbard was enough of an embarrassment as the director of national intelligence, right? I mean, you would have to question whether she had any sort of requisite basic intelligence to even know what the DNI does. But anyway, she, split the scene after, an embarrassing, year and a half. So who does Trump pick to replace or to become the director of national intelligence? Did he pick somebody with national intelligence experience? No. Did he pick somebody that knows somebody with national intelligence experience? No. Did he pick someone who knows something about national intelligence? And the answer is still no. So the roundabout way to get into that is he picks his favorite lapdog, Bill Pulte from the Housing Administration, whose job it was to dig up dirt on Jerome Powell, Jay Powell from the Fed, Letitia James, and whoever else the Trump administration wanted to charge with some sort of alleged mortgage fraud. Okay, this is the guy that's, I'm sure he's got to be confirmed by the Senate, but this is the guy that's getting ready to take over to coordinate all of our national intelligence. Can you believe this? I mean, the fact that Trump chose a lapdog, the fact that Trump has chosen lapdogs, is a pretty good indicator that he will continue to keep choosing lapdogs. And you know why they call lapdogs? Because they're just trained to sit in your lap and do nothing or do whatever they're told. And if you look around any one of those stage cabinet meetings, it looks like a kind of a lapdog convention to me. Hang on a second. Oh, sorry, it's a little breezy, a little cool out here. And I chill easily these days. So anyway, this is the guy. And how's he going to get the job? The Republican Senate is going to confirm him. There'll be a party line vote, and he'll get confirmed. It'd be nice if they decided to show some intestinal fortitude and actually say no. I mean, they kind of halfway did it with the $1.8 billion slush fund, but there's still that non-prosecution clause that his personal lawyer drafted, and that coincidentally he's the head of the Department of Justice. The Attorney General for the United States was Trump's personal advocate, and you know what he's doing as the Attorney General of the United States? Nothing. He's still Trump's personal advocate. And again, lapdog exhibit number 2. Now, I'm not going to go around the cabinet table, but I'm sure you see where this is going. And this is nothing but contempt for the American people. I'm convinced that his retribution is not against, half a dozen or a dozen people. He wants retribution against the United States. Why? Because the United States tried to ruin him, and in his mind, he's entitled to ruin America. And when you survey his term, he's done a really good job. I'll detail bit by bit, but that's what Friedman wrote about. And if you can at all access it, it is really worth reading. But anyway, and as the times goes on, Trump seeks to tie grants to his agenda, like in health and science and housing and transportation. Now, grants used to just be kind of awarded on merit, but no, Trump's going to have a stamp or a hand on everything. And I'm going to skip ahead to Friedman for a second because he espoused a really succinct Trump doctrine. And you remember they wanted you to think the Trump doctrine, or what did they call it? The Donroe Doctrine after the Monroe Doctrine, that we pretty much rule the Western Hemisphere and no foreign government, so on and so forth. Uh, you know, after we do all that, the no foreign governments, look what happens. He ties his grants. He stamps his agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, Friedman's doctrine. Friedman's new doctrine was that if you oppose Trump, he will tariff you, and if you need Trump, he'll extort you. Now, doesn't that just sound like the mafia or organized crime of some sort? And I shouldn't be like this, but I swear I get a little perturbed daily when I see people that, and I used to go to a gym where people believed in election denial. And finally, I just had to tell them that, this has been in the court 60 times. You guys had 60 chances to produce some evidence, and you didn't or couldn't. And I said, if you had 60 chances and you were turned down every time and you believe that you're still right, then you're probably delusional as not being in full touch with reality, right? And I said, this is an honest to God statement. And I told him, I says, the fact that you know that there are 60 cases that have been dismissed and that you guys couldn't present any evidence, but you believe to the contrary, I said, that's just being a dumbass. I mean, I hate to, sometimes there's just no other word for it, but yeah, so that qualifies people as delusional dumbasses, in my humble opinion. Oh, and this is another killer thing. Trump wants our AI companies to voluntarily submit their models to the government before it goes to the public. I mean, how dangerous is this? I mean, that's China, that's not America. But like I said, if you need Trump, he will extort you. And I think that kind of proves the point. And I'm going to end the official New York Times rant with a quick mention about another deadly strike in Ukraine. 22 people in an apartment building. Why we didn't step up to help the Ukrainians, I'll never know. You can only assume that Trump and Putin are actively coordinating, because isn't it awfully coincidental that Putin, gets a little greedy and kind of eyes the rest of Europe, and Trump's response is to decrease the NATO presence or the U.S. contribution to the NATO presence. Does that sound a little suspicious to you? Yeah, it sounds a little suspicious to me too. But I think Friedman's, like say, some of his major points. I know I won't have time to get into all this, but it starts out, all hail our commander and thief. Like I say, if you oppose America, he'll tariff you, and if you depend on him, he'll extort you. And I'll give you just a quick example. We hope to have Chidi join us shortly. I gave him a little discretion to come on when he feels the moment is right. But anyway, we've got tens of thousands of troops in the Middle East, tens of thousands. And if we have tens of thousands of troops in the Middle East, we have tens of thousands of families concerned about their loved ones. I mean, they could take a bullet for the country. They could take a bomb. I mean, God only knows, especially, in that part of the world. So you would think the ordinary playbook is in wartime. That's exactly when you try to keep the country together. And I'm going to bring Chidi on real quick and finish his thought at the same time. Chidi,
Abby, how you doing, man?
good. Thanks. How about you? Good to see you.
I appreciate you, man. I'm very grateful to be here, man. Very grateful. It's an honor.
Well, Chidi, I'm going to tell you. I found you to be an interesting, thoughtful person, with whose actions back up his words. I mean, you do good things,
Appreciate it.
and you help people, and I think that you have, uh, I just think the people would do well to come to meet you, and I thank you for coming on.
Of
And
course.
like I said, is
Thank
there
you so
any
much for having me. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for
uh,
having me.
Chidi, you're always welcome. Believe me, you're always welcome. I'm a phone call or an email or a text away.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you,
Oh,
man.
anytime. So anyway, let's did you just to kind of start off, what did you have any takeaways from last night?
Oh man, it was honestly I was up. I was up late last night, man. I was just refreshing the polls. A lot of surprises, man. But last night was crazy. Last night was crazy. Always election day, whether it's primaries or midterms, always has people on the edge of their seats because once you hit that page, la.vote.gov, you never know what you're gonna see, right? You could think that
Right.
the person that you were gonna see on top, now they're on the bottom, right? So again, you just never really know what to expect. So I was up, and yeah, a lot of interesting results to say the least.
And I'm still amazed at money is just such a force in politics.
Oh yeah,
But anyway, I
it's
didn't
almost it's
mean
almost
to.
it's almost everything. A lot of people can just buy their campaign nowadays, whether it's through advertising or anything. It's crazy.
Oh, how somebody said that Tom Steyer spent like $200 million, which is some incredible figure per vote.
It's crazy. A billionaire running. I don't think he made the top two, but
No,
a lot of people were really thrown off by him being a billionaire. It's kind of like you can't buy your way into politics, even though you kind of can. But that's a perfect example of somebody trying to buy their way into politics. I mean, yeah, kind of policy aside, to me, I'm just like doesn't really seem right. Doesn't really seem right.
I couldn't relate to him. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. And I'm a loyal Democrat, and but anyway, how about Karen Bass? Was that a surprise to you?
Not really. So I feel like with Karen Bass, she's been the mayor of LA during a very tough time. These past 4 years have been extremely turbulent times in Los Angeles. I mean, from just natural disasters, obviously the Palisades fires, a lot of crime, even though crime is on the decline, but a lot of crime. So for starters, let's start off by saying it's not an easy job to be the mayor of any city, let alone one of the biggest cities in the world, Los
Oh,
Angeles. So being the incumbent is always a big plus, right? Being able to just put up a lawn sign and say re-elect instead of, elect. Re-elect to the mind is just like, oh, well, this person's already there. Let me just throw him back there. So I'm not surprised at all to see her with that many votes. It's not really surprising.
well, Chidi, I'm going to share kind of a dim-witted observation of mine, and that is that hardly anybody is really great at their first epidemic or pandemic or natural disaster.
Right.
And,
For sure. For sure. It's not
and
something that we really can practice for. It just happens unexpectedly, for sure.
right, and whoever's in charge, just gets the finger pointed, and I just think it's a not particularly fair way to judge. But be that as
Absolutely.
it may,
Oh no,
be
for
that
sure,
as,
for sure. And you made a
uh,
great point. A lot of times when you're that elected official, you do sign yourself up to be the sacrificial lamb. So in case of anything does happen, right? Again, we pray and we pray to God that nothing happens, but some things do happen, right? So again, being prepared for it and being prepared that you are the person that you are the figurehead, right? You're the representative, you're the elected official, so you will take a lot of that fire. And it's just kind of if you're up for it, if you're that type of person to be able to take it. But I agree with what you said. I agree.
well, and so tell me, what other takeaways did you have?
So there's Karen Bassett. Definitely the governor's race. The governor's race was a surprise. Javier
Yes.
Becerra, I think literally just about a month ago, he was polling in single digits. And now to see his percentage, I mean, 30% of the votes, him getting that, it's astonishing, right? And that's since, what was his name? Eric Swalwell, since he had his scandal, he was forced to drop out. He really just took the reign and became the top Democratic candidate. And he really is, it seems like he's running with it, right? He's the top two finisher. So definitely the governor's race. Also, the sheriff's race was kind of a surprise, kind of not. Robert Luna is up for re-election. So, he got like 47% of the votes. Again, being an incumbent is a strong ploy. So, yeah.
Yeah, Chidi, do you have any particular law enforcement thoughts, just out of curiosity?
So I've been a deputy sheriff. I work in the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Been there for about 3 years. It's a great department. Me personally, I'm looking forward to growing the department, continue to rise up in the ranks. In terms of law enforcement, obviously law enforcement is a very turbulent conversation. Some people love it. Some people don't love it. Again, me being part of it, I've been able to see the ins and outs. But I think overall, as long as we respect each other and people are fair, it's all about fairness. Me, I'm all about fairness. I can be a deputy sheriff, but still be able to remove the deputy sheriff cap and still look at the community and society and say, okay, I can see that perspective. I can see why you think that person messed up and be okay with it. You know what I mean? You have to be able to accept your faults and be able to move on. So, yeah.
And being an American kind of requires you to be fair and equal and treat people decently. I mean, there are obligations that come with this, and fairness and equality is, and don't they have that thing under the Supreme Court building that says equal justice under law?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's always nice when it comes true.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So, Chief, tell me what's going on in your professional life. Are you doing much in the Unity business?
In the what business?
Unity, like bringing people together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I actually just came back from. So on a personal level, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So.
Oh, please.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Chidi Udengwu. I am 28 years old, and I'm a Los Angeles County deputy sheriff. I've been a deputy for 3 years. But besides being a deputy, I do a plethora of other things, right? So I'm into civil service, right? Which is why I'm really putting my foot in the political realm because, again, community service and public service, not only part with my job, but with who I am as a person, right? I love the community. I love seeing people be happy. I also do a lot of training, right? I was an ex-basketball player. I played at Division I college, Idaho State. So wow. I also do training clinics. I train a lot of kids, about 8 to 10 kids a week on the side, basketball training. There's that. And yeah, I have my own business. So I dabble in a couple of different things. And I just I'm a firm believer of anything you want to do in life, do it. Because why not? The worst that can happen is you fail. And if you fail, it's better than you not doing anything. So yeah.
Oh, and I didn't know you played Division I basketball. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
What were you for?
No, I actually played the one. I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'7", but I played the one. So I was about 6 feet tall when I was a sophomore, and I had like a 6-7 inch growth spurt. So again, we thank the ones above for that, and I'll take every inch, man.
How old were you when you started playing? Just out of curiosity.
I was about 10.
I think basketball players are the most, awesome beings I've ever seen. It's just amazing. But wow, I've got an old friend that I went to school with, and he played college basketball at a little place in, I think, Charleston, West Virginia or something.
Oh, okay, nice.
Godforsaken place. And he was like your basic shooting guard. And when I met him, he'd been out of school for a few years. And, I've never been, athletic at all. So anyway, when I watch him play, it'd be like, 10, 15 feet from the key, and just every time. And I'm like, anyway, I admire that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, basketball is definitely a skill game. How many shots you can get up or how many shots you're going to end up making. So, yeah.
Well, can you mind if I ask how you got recruited to Idaho?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No problem. So my basketball journey, I played at Diamond Ranch High School, and I wasn't good enough to go straight to a Division I school, not yet. But that was always my long-term goal, right? So, after convincing my Nigerian immigrant parents, Mom, before I go to my 4-year, please let me go to a junior college. Dad, please let me go to a junior college. First, they were against it, but then they were like, okay, go. So I went to a prep school first, and then I went to San Bernardino Valley College. And my first year I played under Coach Quincy Brewer, amazing coach. And then that summer, from being a freshman to a sophomore, I was about 6'1", and I grew legitimately to 6'6". Grew like 5 inches. And it was like, it just made the world of a difference. And then from there, I started getting invited to camps, started getting invited to different tryouts, school visits. So yeah, my junior year, my sophomore year, I did really good. And Idaho State came to this camp, and then they offered me a full-ride scholarship. And because before I had a couple NAIA, Division III, Division II school offers, and some people were like, oh, why don't you take it? Why don't you take it? But my goal in my life was to play Division I basketball. So what did I say I was going to do? I'm going to hold off. Those Division II offers are great, but I want to play Division I basketball. So again, I thank God for protecting me from injuries, and I waited, and Idaho State came around, and they offered me, and I took the offer, and the rest is history, man. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm forever a Bengal. I don't think.
Oh, Chidi, I think I know who I'm going to drink a beer to tonight. Well, tell me, how are your parents?
How are they?
Yes.
Oh man, they're great. My parents are my everything. My mom, my dad, they were born in Nigeria, so I'm Nigerian. Right. So Chidi in Nigerian, my language Igbo, means God is with you. So my Nigerian parents that immigrated from Nigeria came here when they were about 23, 24, 25.
Oh,
had
excellent.
Me, my brother, had me, my brother, and my sister. And again, I cannot be more grateful for them. I'm luck. It's just luck. It's just luck that my parents wanted to be together at that time and wanted to come to the States, and they have just the calmest minds, and they're such great people. But again, without them, none of this is possible. I'm not sitting here. I'm not having this constant smile on my face. It's not by accident. It's because of them. And my goal and my siblings' goal is to just, continue to work and continue to grind so we can take care of them. And, I know they're very proud of us. They're amazing. They're at their house. I'm at my house, and yeah, man, they're great.
Well, tell me, is there a big Nigerian community in Los Angeles or Southern California?
There is. There are Nigerians everywhere. But in Los Angeles, there's a pretty big community. Matter of fact, that's also another thing that I do. I have my own business. It is a Nigerian lifestyle brand, and we host community events from mixers to we offer scholarships, and it's called Niger Nation. Yeah.
And that's NAI. And how do you spell that for everybody?
So Niger Nation is spelled NAIJA and then NATION. So you can look it up. We sell merchandise. We host live events worldwide at this point. And yeah, we've really encapsulated and tried to encompass the different communities in different states. So obviously me being here in Los Angeles, I take it very personal. So there's a big community of Nigerians here in Los Angeles now. And, it's an honor to be able to have any influence and bring them out. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, Chidi, I can't imagine how proud your parents must be.
Oh, thank you, man.
I mean, well, you believe me, you've done yeoman's work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It really means a lot, man.
Well, so tell me, what are we going to do about November 2nd, about the November election? We going to roll these guys out of office or what?
So I think come November 2nd, I think it is so important for people to not only come out and get out and vote the same way that they did this time around, but we need to double it, right? Again, I'm looking at the numbers online. There are millions, 2 million, 3 million people who just didn't cast a vote. I mean, people really need to understand how important not only local elections are, but of course, the state level, the government level, Congress level, Senate level, president, you know what I mean? Again, it's really important. So it's paramount that we get out to vote. And come November 2nd, hopefully everybody that we want in office is in office, and hopefully even more important, they enact and they make the change. Because, people always say, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. It's not one person. It's not just the president. It's not the vice president. It takes a collective. It takes a collective of people in Congress, collective of people in the Senate and in the House, and in your local elections, your city council member, your school board member, just all being on one mind and one accord and saying, okay, these people are struggling here. Let's lift our community up. So God willing, November 2nd, everything goes good.
And you know what people don't realize is that it's a double-edged sword. If you don't vote, not only is your voice silenced, but somebody else gets heard.
That part.
So it's,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just a zero-sum game, and you can't. I mean, it's you know, voting is like the fundamental characteristic of a democracy.
Yeah, it
I
literally
think
is.
I think we kind of owe it to those that came before us and to those that come after us. I mean, you work with kids. I'm sure you want to see them have more opportunities in a different world, a different environment in the world.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. A kid I was training today, matter of fact, he actually asked me. He was like, "Oh, did you vote?" It was very random. I was like, "How do you even know?" He's like 9 years old, and I told him, I was like, "That's so good that you even know." He's like, "Yeah, I want to be the president one day." I'm like, "You see that?" And you know what I told him? He said, "Hey, coach, I want to be the president one day." I looked at him. I said, "And you will be. You will be.
Yeah,
Like you will be because you have the confidence to tell somebody that you will. Half of the world just operates on confidence and competence. You know what I mean? So, but I agree with what you said. I mean, the youth are the future of our world, future of our generation. It's so amazing seeing so many youths and young people get involved in politics and just civil service and public service and community building. So, again, me myself personally, that's one thing that I pride myself on. And again, I just want to continue to try to make a difference, whatever the difference is.
my granddad always said, "From small things, great things come."
I
So
love that.
maybe from small people, from small children, rather not small people, but small children, great things will come.
Absolutely. You never know. You never know.
Well, Chidi, you're doing more than your share to help heal the world. I mean, I admire the work you do within the Nigerian community. Your work with kids is just, it just knocks me out. And matter of fact, do you know who Mo Kelly is?
Mo Kelly. It kind of rings a bell. I'm not too sure, but
He
it rings
used
a
to
bell. Who's that?
he used to be a radio guy on KFI, and he was a martial arts guy.
Oh wow.
And he's another guy that makes a special effort to like help kids at tournaments and teach and deep down under it all, I'd like to think we were meant to maintain some sense of humility. And
Absolutely.
Chidi, I mean, I got to tell you, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You've been a great guest. Like I said, you're always welcome. Please let me know if things develop, and we'll be in touch. Off the air.
Oh, for
But
sure.
again, thanks a million. And if I'm not the most technical savvy guy in the world, but I'll see if we can round up some clips for your parents.
Oh, please. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I've done my research, the Democracy Radio Network. I am honored to be here as a guest. World famous Abby Kaufman. No, sincerely, I give you your flowers. I love your consistency. And again, hard work pays off. You know what I mean? And I'm honored to be here anytime. I would love to be a guest. As you see, I love to talk. And you have a great radio voice, such a great, memorable voice, man. So I'm here anytime, man. Thank you so much for
Which,
having me. Thank you.
which I can't thank you enough. Please tell your parents I said hello and thank you, and I look forward to next time.
Will do, brother. Thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you.
Take care.
Same to you. Bye now.
Take care, man. Thank you, man. Take care.
And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. That was Chidi and Udengwu from LA, and uh, we are politically politically minded the same way. And it's funny. Most people, most decent people, want nothing but fairness and equality. We only want the promise of the country. We don't want to see the promise of the country distorted, like it's being distorted. For instance, the promise of the country was that if you did good in medical research, maybe you could apply for a grant and have your grant funded. But now, no, those grants don't exactly go to merit. Those grants go according to Trump's agenda. And his agenda in housing and science and transportation and health, it ain't for you and me. I promise you that. Uh, anyway, sorry, it's going to take a little while to come down from the Chidi interview. I love talking to that guy, and now you know why he is always welcome here. So anyway, got a nation. Well, I was with our commander and thief, And, like I said, we were at war. We got tens of thousands of troops over in the Middle East, tens of thousands of families here missing them, knowing full well that that a bullet, that their loved ones could take a bullet or worse, like die, right? I mean, like, think about that. Is that not the ultimate sacrifice? Putting your body in front of a bullet for your country? I mean, that's bravery of an order I can't imagine. I would be peeing on myself at the first hint of violence. I wouldn't know what to do. Okay, but anyway, so when you're in wartime, it'd be really nice to keep the country united, right? Just kind of like general political knowledge. And the worst thing is what happens when you don't. And if you don't keep the country united, which is when the country is divided and going at itself, that's really demoralizing to the troops that are fighting for us. I mean, I'm certainly not a warmonger in any way, uh, but I appreciate the theatrics of governing as well as actual governing, which we're not Trump's a little heavy on the theatrics and a little light on everything, a little light on the substance, I guess would be about the nicest way I could put it. Yeah, he's the only thing he's substantial about him is I think the amount of orange whatever it is he uses to keep the tan, the hair, and the God only knows. So just another little pet peeve. So anyway, so these troops are you know they're Trump just they're I'm sorry, they're fighting for our lives, right? Fighting for our lives, the bullets and all that. And what do you see instead? You see instead a commander in thief. You don't see a commander in chief bringing people together. You have a commander in thief. And what makes me say that? Because while the troops are just sacrificing their lives, what is Trump doing? He tries to shake the treasury down for $1.8 billion, and get a ban or get a free pass on on tax crimes. Now, who else would ask for immunity from prosecution but a criminal, right? I mean, you're admitting you're a criminal. Uh, I just can't imagine what's going through that 79 or 80-year-old brain that's probably a little arteries starting to harden a little bit, a little cerebral arteriosclerosis, I think is the name. And I'm not, obviously not medically minded at all, but I would suspect that maybe, and I'll be generous, maybe 50 years of McDonald's cheeseburgers and Diet Cokes, I would bet that's not without its consequences. And I would bet that those consequences get a little, you get a little more exaggerated as you get older. And by the way, if anybody agrees, they're free to give us a call or disagree, 949-629-3820. And let us know what you think about all this. And let us know what you plan to do. I've always, and I hate spending other people's money for them, but I've actually have begged people to join the local Democratic Club. And I mean, hopefully it's not too expensive. If it is, if you have to do the PayPal pay in full, do it. I mean, this is all hands on deck. The country's like, I mean, it might be 70 and sunny in Southern California, but the country's in a major storm. And this is like all hands on deck. The destruction is going on daily. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, $1.8 billion. And the Times itself said, all that does is reward loyalists who are willing to break the law and commit violence for you. Yeah, there's no national interest in that. And just to give you a kind of a what if Trump had a shred, is anything smaller than a molecule? I guess an electron, maybe. If he had an electron of integrity, and I don't even know, that's not even the full atom. That's just the electron. If he had an electron of integrity, he might say, even though I've got this $1.8 billion, I think it would be better spent if we maybe funded Ukraine. Huh? Those, and if you remember, Ukraine came over to us and asked us if we would accept their help with our drone program. Can you imagine? Zelensky gets yelled at and thrown out of the White House by Trump and Vance. And how does Zelensky repay that? With kindness and offering to help. That's just to give you two sides of, or two different leader prospects. And see, the point is that Trump only wants money for people that overthrow the Constitution here, not for other people who want to be like us. He only wants to pay people who destroy us. He doesn't want to give money to people who want to copy us. Think about that. He doesn't give money, won't give money to countries who want to copy us and have a democracy, to have a decent, honest government, which was the case under Barack Obama and Joe Biden. It was, there just was no doubt about it. Those were men of honor and character and prestige. Trump's just a thief and a charlatan. And if you don't know it by now, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but if you don't know it by now, uh, so anyway, let's see that and the note. Oh, and how about this? Is he also? Could this be? Sometimes you see things, you're like, can this possibly be? And it was like, I accept the fact that he lied 30,000 times his first term. That didn't really surprise me. And this shouldn't really surprise me either. But it seems as though the president or somebody on his behalf uh, is executing stock trades of, like, I think there's been 3,600 so far. And that accounts to about 50 a day. And the worst part about it is Trump has the ability to put his thumb on the scale for those he likes and to talk down the stock of those he doesn't like. I mean, this is corruption on just such a massive level. And the reason we've never seen this before is because we've never had someone like Trump before. And we've never had someone like Trump divide the country. And we've never had a uh, a president who tried to actually harm the country. And I personally think he should be tried for treason. There's Believe me, there's more than enough to get into that with. But if I hurry, I can get through this and read or not read, but highlight I guess an article that Brett Stevens wrote, and Brett is the New York Times conservative guy. So it's always interesting to hear what the New York Times conservative guy has to say. And let's see, and what the major uh, shift, and this is a tectonic earthquake shift that you wouldn't believe. We used to think that America had to be strong. The world thought that we had to be strong to deter Russia. Now the world thinks they have to be strong to deter America. And exactly why do they want to deter America? Well, let's see. Could it be that Canada should be the 51st state? Could it be that he wants to seize Greenland by force? Could it be that he started the Iranian war without consulting NATO and then demands that NATO help bail him out of the problem? Okay, that's just childish. You can't. And to slash Ukraine funding, what is they're the good guys. And don't forget, didn't it originate with the reckless tariffs? Don't forget, if Trump doesn't like you, he's going to tariff you, and he hates everybody. So anyway, we've got And so now Americans got to be deterred. We're the bad guys to the rest of the world. And the moral of the story is that Trump will weaponize any country's dependence on America and use it to extract or extort whatever he can. Um, he remember he forced Ukraine to give up some critical minerals for U.S. help originally, and so like I said, that gives rise to the Trump doctrine of oppose me and you get tariffed. You depend on me and I extort you. That's for a president to act like that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea. That is treason. Whew. Thanks, and thanks to Chidi again for coming on and chatting with us. He's a super enlightening guy. I knew he played basketball, but I didn't know he was like Division One. I see my friend went to college at Charleston, West Virginia, something like that, and I don't know if they were like Division Three, maybe. They were a relatively small thing, and unfortunately, my friend Rich was a little fragile, and I astounded if he got drafted. He got actually letters of interest from the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Cowboys, and we used to joke that if he played basketball, he'd wind up crippled, and if he played football, he'd be dead. So, so Rich took the safe route, and now is an extremely knowledgeable mergers and acquisitions attorney here in Orange County, and he's the best tax attorney you will ever meet. Big firm, and I mean, trust me, Rich is a world class tax attorney, specializing in mergers and acquisitions. So anyway, he doesn't. He moved on from basketball. Is the point? But then Brett Stevens, the New York Times resident conservative, and they have one. And I'm going to give you my usual deal about the New York Times. When Trump calls it the failing New York Times, or it's a hoax, or what else do you call it? Fake news. The truth of the matter is, the New York Times is the most reputable news organization in the world. They have superior reporting and superior reporters, superior people up and down the line. If the New York Times says something, you can usually bet your money on it. Okay. And he's really quick to say what's a hoax. But if you ask him, oh, what is a hoax? And he'll say, whatever I say. So I mean, he's not shy about it. He's just lying to your face, and here it is. So anyway, Brett Stevens writes this sarcastic letter, and I don't know if anyone can remember a book called The Laszlo Letters, and it was written by a fellow named Don Novello. And Don Novello was an ad guy from Chicago that somehow wound up in Mill Valley in Marin County, north of San Francisco. And and he was Father Guido Sarducci on Saturday Night Live, for those of you who may remember. And anyway, Don was an ad guy, and one thing leads to another. And I think this was after, this had to have been before Father Guido Sarducci. And anyway, if you get a chance to buy Don Novello, The Laszlo Letters, it's an extremely dated thing, but it's the most sarcastic piece of literature you'll read in a while, and it's worth doing. So anyway, Brett Stevens writes, "Dear President Ozympimandrius," and Ozympimandrius, I had to look this up, was apparently some king of kings, some big whatever, and he addresses it to our greatest president, and it's from, he signs it, your greatest fans. Okay, you can see where this is going, right? And let's see. And he starts out by saying that he is outraged that a liberal judge would order his name off the Kennedy Center. That's wrong and backwards, he says. And he says, you survived 3 assassination attempts, and they name the center after the one that dies. What is that? They can't name him for Kennedy. You survived. It should be named after you. Okay. And then they go on and the second point he makes is that those congressional knuckleheads won't let a 250-year-old law stand in the way of of having your face on a $250 bill. I mean, that's about what a restaurant bill now is for about 250. And since people are doing so well and everything's so affordable these days, that it's just easy to pay a $250 bill with a $250 bill, and your name on it, your face on it is just bonus. And another thing about these big art supporters, I hope it has large gold plated statues of you and Abe Lincoln, our most famous presidents. Our Arc de Trump, and not the one commanded by that French guy Napoleon, right? I mean, we want a real Arc de Trump. We want big arches, and because with big arches comes great military glory, and and we know that if you have big arches, your great military glory is going to be liberating Hormuz and the new Trump battleships. We know you're bound for glory, President Trump. And then he says he's tempted to suggest renaming. That's kind of a specialty, isn't it? Renaming the Statue of Liberty. And how about something like the Melania Knauss Trump Statue of Liberty in honor of the first immigrant, and she's legal, to become First Lady? But I thought that might be a little much. So I kind of put that idea one side and thought that maybe you'd build another. I mean, the future generation would find it really inspiring. And just before you think Brad Stevens is just getting started here. And he says, another thing, you were way too modest to call it the Gulf of America. I mean, it shouldn't be the Gulf of Trump, but why should it just be the Gulf of Trump? I mean, why would you settle for a Gulf? I mean, the Atlantic Ocean was named for Atlas from Greek mythology, and that doesn't make any sense since Greece is so far away from the Atlantic Ocean. And then the Pacific Ocean, that's bigger than the Atlantic Ocean, and they named that after a Mexican brand of beer. It just makes no sense. And he's on a roll now. And don't be shy about your name on the ballroom. Your face should be on Mount Rushmore. There's a bill in Congress to get that done. And let's say it's a geological impossibility, just in case they have to redo everything to add you. When they repair it, redone, why don't they add a big Trump name to that huge gold tile letters on the floor of the reflecting pool? And that way, the Trump name will be lit up in the pool, and it'll be visible from 30,000 feet or maybe even outer space. Wouldn't that be cool? So anyway, and I love Brett Stevens. And doesn't going to the moon have some sort of naming rights? I mean, going to the moon has got to have naming rights, doesn't it? At a minimum, the first lunar base should be named after you. And why is it just called the moon? Why don't we call it the Trump moon? And it's funny. I think they'll name the first lunar base. It's appropriate if the first lunar base was named for a lunatic. The lunatic Trump base. That might float. So at a minimum, let's get this base. Let's have the Trump moon. Mr. President, there are so many ways to honor your priceless achievements and your legacy, but we've decided we have already taken too much of your time. And then he ends it with a poem from Percy Bysshe Shelley, and about meeting the traveler from an antique land. And he looks back, and Ozympus is there somehow, and he's telling the stranger to look at everything he's done, and all he sees is an endless desert, just endless sand. That's what happens to great tyrants. Their accomplishments are always reduced to rubble, and the sooner we can dismantle this Trump presidency, the better. Please, everybody, let's work really hard in getting ready for November. It's going to be, they're not going to go willingly. They're cheating every step of the way. And, I'd be honest with you, I have no idea how we're really going to prepare for this. I can only hope that George Conway or Andrew Weissman or people like that have kept a running what if case, and they just keep adding to the facts daily. And now we have well, computer technology and AI to help sort this out. But don't care. That's only for now. And I haven't checked the. I know the stock markets were down today, and you got to realize that even though Trump brags about these stock market records, that you know the indices only measure a small number of stocks. That's why the economy can tank, but a few stocks can drive the market. And in a larger sense, AI investment is what's driving the markets now. That's the only reason we don't go down, 800,000 points every day, is people keep dumping money in AI. And I don't know whether we're still the leader or not. I know that China is got something in the works to get the NVIDIA chip that everybody wants, like the NVIDIA AI chip. And if China gets the NVIDIA AI chip, it's game set match. I have no idea how to come back from that. Um, and as much as I have like very few good things to say about Elon Musk, the one thing I will say about the guy is he's not unlike Thomas Edison as far as the things he has built. I mean, he built these things. He designed. He's not. He's not the guy that sits around and writes checks. I mean, he does that, but he really gets excited by doing things that by doing big things that haven't done before. And we can assume that any sort of planetary colonization, even to the moon, is going to be a SpaceX project, and it's going to take rockets lined up almost like on a conveyor belt, because you have to get an incredible amount of supplies, and the moon is close. But just think about that. A little shelter, a little food, a little water. It may not be really easy, and God knows it ain't gonna be cheap. It's expensive to deliver some plywood around the corner these days. Can you imagine a delivery service to the moon for construction materials? And how much can they carry? How much? I don't know what the payload of those things is, or hell, I don't. Payload might be what they weigh. I can't imagine what their carrying capacity is, because everything's got to be so light yet so strong to withstand all that force. I mean, I don't know how much dynamite those guys are sitting on, but my God, I mean, that rocket fuel is just hugely flammable. I mean, you strapped yourself to a bomb, and you're just assuming that the takeoff and will be okay. And you never know until you know. But hopefully at some point they'll at some point it almost seems kind of unfair. We should not be allowed to blow up the world and then move elsewhere. It seems like if we blow up the world, that'll be the end of us. And we'd like to think there's other lives out there, and that's a topic for George Norrie and Coast to Coast overnight. A little plug for George. So guys, I'm gonna beat after last night too. It was a rough primary, and I gotta tell you, I got invited to a watch party, and I didn't think anything about it. Watch party to me means a watch party. It doesn't occur to me to do anything but maybe stand up, watch TV, and drink a beer. That's kind of the watch parties I've been to before. So I get invited to this watch party, and after I confirm, they send me the location. And the location is a fairly expensive restaurant here in Newport. And one of my friends has had a wife in politics, and he always mentions how everything they would step out for whatever, and it'd be $100 donation to somebody. Just couldn't walk out the door for less than $100. And so as I remember this, I'm like, huh. maybe you ought to just cancel that confirmation just in case. And I think I'm fairly glad I did. And on that happy note, I'm going to sign off a little early today. It's been a blast. Guys, we can't thank Chidi Udengwu enough for coming on and chatting. He's a super guy. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to get you in touch with him. And in the meantime, if I'm not mistaken, whenever people get ready to sign off, don't they always say something like, Roger, welcome?